YouTube, it's me again. Hey, I was just talking to a client and she's been spinning a little bit because maybe just like you, she has four different, I've got eight fingers, but I mean four different areas that she can dial into and specialize in. And she often finds herself not being able to decide which one. And I see this a lot and I feel this a lot because this is what I also used to do. And sometimes even now I still juggle between should I stay doing what I do, which is helping people build their businesses online, or go back to horses? Or should I go horse people who want to build a business online? And what that indecision and doubt creates is excuses. Now, I talk about my think framework quite a lot in these series. So the N is what I call the no excuses, no negotiations. Because why? Because building your business requires you to make decisions and stick to them. And I often like to say there are no right offers and there is no right price, just the price you make right and the offer you make right. And when we want to be able to offer a lot of different things to a lot of different people at the same time, if we're just starting up, that to me is an excuse not to get started because we'll jump between the ideas and we may start a whole new funnel on one idea, and then by the time we get close to launching it, we took ourselves out of it. Does anybody listening to this bit relate? If so, let me know in the comments. And as always, please give me a thumbs up because I like to know somebody is benefiting from my rambles. So here's how I suggested to her that she go. Our brains will want to know the how, but how do I do this? How will it work? And yes, in the club, that's what I teach her. I teach her the how. But as you can see, she's benefiting from the how. There are so many step-by-step strategies inside my club that she could just pull out and use. So how isn't the problem? It's the who. Who does she need to be? And she needs to be somebody that makes a decision. Because here's what I know to be true about building your own business. You have to build this belief inside of you so that you can create value ahead of time. Everything on this planet has value. However, if you find yourself in a place where people don't value what you've got and you're making the offer to people who don't value it, you're not going to get paid a lot. What do I mean by that? You could be a five-star Michelin chef. Is there such a thing as a five-star? Maybe. I don't know. I know there's one and two-star. But let's say you're a Michelin chef and you decide to go and work in a high school in the cafeteria and you're spitting out these best meals these kids have ever had. They're not going to pay you for that, right? You're in the wrong place. However, if you take those same skills and create that same value and create a beautiful, luxurious environment for foodies to come and experience it, you're going to get paid a whole heck load more. And that's part of this. Who do I help? How do I help them? What value am I putting out there? And we have to put the value out there first. It's never the other way around. And that's what I think most of us wish. Most of us wish that the training that we go and get. So if you are a life coach like I am, and you go and work within a life coach school and you get certified, and I have certifications in four different life coaching schools, you think that's enough, but that's not enough. It's never enough. Because why? Because that's the framework that then you have to apply your IP on top of. And your IP, your intellectual property, is how you create value in the world because it's unique to you. Because if you think about it, how many different people were certified by those same schools? How many have that exact same piece of paper, and yet the results each person creates is such a broad range, right? There's people who create zero money from it and some that are in eight figures. That's the broad range of it. And so that's what I wanted to talk about today because here's how you do it. You pick an offer and you make that offer right every single day, even when your brain is telling you, no, I don't want to do that. I think this thing over here is better. You then decide who you're doing it for. Who you're doing it for is a bit like my chef example, right? It's fine to go and feed high school kids if you're happy with that value in terms of the money you get back for the value you're putting out. If you want to create more income for yourself, you are going to have to make it to the right audience. That matters, right? If you want to, it really matters. People will pay for value at all price points. Then your job is to build that belief inside of you, that belief that removes all the self-doubt. The self-doubt's always going to be there. I like to refer to this part of your being as Larry the Lizard. And I call him Larry because he's external to me. And I want him external to me because he's my unconscious thoughts, patterns, feelings, routines, habits. He's everything that I've built up in my lifetime until I've become consciously aware that I get to make better decisions for myself. I get to create more for myself. I get to control the way that I think. And part of that is in my think framework. And the end, the no negotiations for me is so critical. It's no negotiations and no excuses, because I will find myself, if I waver between who I help, how I help them, why them specifically, what problems I solve for them specifically, it's because I'm in the excuse and negotiation side. I'm using my old patterns, my Larry brain, to talk me out of something because of the self-doubt. And self-doubt does not a business make. It is a human feeling. We're all going to feel it. We need to create ways to move through it and past it. And yes, this is why in my club I have the step-by-step how process. But trust me, and you may already find this to be true for yourself, because this was my biggest problem for the longest time. I intellectually understood what it was I needed to do, but little Larry had me in so much doubt, confusion, and fear. And for me, scarcity was a big part of my life. Even when I was earning stupid amounts of money, like stupid amounts of money with lots of thousands of dollars sloshing around in my bank account, I still felt the scarcity running through it. And the less I earned, the higher the scarcity would get, and it wouldn't be relevant. It's my Larry lizard brain, because I grew up quite, look, in my country, nobody's poor, as in we live on the streets and we're destitute poor, unless that's a choice we make. It's not Africa poor. So, but we grew up poor. Privileged but poor. Anyway, I digress. Anyway, my brain was wired to think that money was hard to come by, that money didn't grow on trees, that we had to be responsible with money. And one of my strongest memories was, as a kid, my mother had a little bit of a gambling problem. I don't actually think it was a gambling problem. I think we just talked about it as though it was a problem, because I don't think she was addicted. She never put us really destitute from it. But I remember specifically, we went to a racehorse event, and it was actually, we call it trotting over here, where the horses just stay in the trot gate, and it was always at night time. And there was this most beautiful mare. Her name was Delightful Lady. As I'm saying this, I'm wondering if that's where I connected, that I would only have boy horses. Interesting, because I don't have mare horses. I don't have female horses. But anyway, I digress. Delightful Lady was her name. And she was the favorite. And she had won every race that a horse could win in this particular event. And so for some reason, my parents decided that they were going to put a lot of money on this horse to win, because it was a sure thing. And I remember standing watching the horses parade and going, oh, I really like that one over there and that one over there. I didn't back Delightful Lady. Intuitively, I just felt she wasn't going to win. And sure as apples as eggs, she did not win. And they lost all that money. And I remember that feeling to this day, that sinking in my body and that wondering, well, what are we going to do? They lost all the money. They didn't make any money. And that is marked on my brain. It was a defining point as a kid. And so that meant that building my business with money, I didn't want to risk it. And that is why with Facebook ads or anything I had to hand over money to, I always was much slower to just do what needed to be done, which is strategically understand what it was I needed. So from an audience build perspective, we all need new people coming into our funnels, because if we don't have new people coming into our funnels, we can't make sales. A plus B does equal C in this point. So by being full of doubt and using Larry Lizard scarcity and fear as a mechanism to stop my growth, because I didn't believe, that it would work, that held me back for a very long time. And so that's what I mean about the mindset being the key ingredient and the thing that's got to go first, because you've got to put value into the world. And if your brain doesn't think you can create value, how do you create value? You can't, right? And it's, I remember thinking about it this way. If I had a luxurious car, so for me, Porsche Macan is my car. My car's in the garage, right? And I can't take it anywhere because I haven't put any gas in it, or I haven't charged it up if it's a hybrid or an electric vehicle. So in the garage it sits, even though it is the best car, in my opinion, on the road. And even though it's got the best GPS system, and I know it's going to get me from A to B and it's going to be a fantastic experience, if I don't put fuel in it, which is belief, it's going nowhere. And so that's why in my club, we have to work on all of this together, because we don't know what we don't know. And by putting ourselves into execution, by implementing, by constantly showing up, we figure this stuff out, this invisible stuff, this Larry stuff, so that we can learn, become aware, and then make a better decision. And so going back to my client, I have to keep showing her that she's still juggling those four very distinct offers, and she just has to go all in on one. And the longer she delays that decision, the longer she delays creating value, the longer she delays creating value, you're getting me right? The longer it's going to take her to find her right people to buy her audience, buy her value, to give her some money, so that she becomes a paid service-based provider. This is the circle. That's how we break it. This is the work I do in the club. So if you're finding yourself not able to make progress in your service-based business, I promise you, asking how isn't going to solve the problem. You need to come back and go back to, who do I want to be? What value can I put into the world? What value would somebody be prepared to pay for? How can I do that? And then check in. Do I believe I can do this? Am I capable of doing this? What would it take for me to get out of my own way? Asking much better questions is the key, because you will never figure out how to do it until you have done it. And if you can't even start that pathway, work on the mindset. It unlocks everything. The belief has to be there first. Well, I hope that was helpful. If it was, thumbs up. Like I said, subscribe if you like my content. I am still not on a regular schedule, other than to say I will release something every single week. It might be one episode, it might be a couple, because this is my belief to myself. The more I'm out here, the more I get to share, the more I show up, the more interest I'm going to create. But more importantly, I'm staying in integrity, the I in my think framework. And when I'm integrity and I do what I say I'm going to do, I raise my standard for myself. My belief comes up, my value goes up, and the beautiful wheel continues. So yeah, do it too. I will see you inside my club. Details are in this YouTube post somewhere. If you find yourself where I was, where my client currently is, where you know what you need to do, but you are not doing it, do not stay stuck for a second longer. It is worth the investment to get the help, to get the guidance, to get the new awarenesses, to build your belief, to create your IP, so you can finally get out there, get out of your way, and start to find the people that you are here on this planet to help. So stop waiting, get out there and get going.